I'm now at a location which is approximately 1.5 kilometers from the railway station at Treblinka and 2.5 kilometers, very approximately 2.5, 3 kilometers from the death camp, or the former death camp at Treblinka. The road you can see here was, I think, built by the German army at the beginning of the occupation, and this would have been one of the roads which led to the new border, the border between the Third Reich and the Soviet Union. That is after they'd chopped Poland in two, taking half each for themselves. To my right we have what is today the main road. That was where the railway lines are. That road is new. It went up around I think the road was built in the late noughties, and I do recall though using this road here when leaving Treblinka and heading towards Małkinia. You can see that it wasn't in such bad condition as today, but to be quite honest, it wasn't in all that much better condition. The fact is though that this road has survived in a very long time, and so that must be credit to the people who actually built it. The prisoners, the Jewish people who had been collected in the ghettos or wherever they were taken to the railway station at Treblinka, which is now just over 1 kilometre from here, and there they waited until it was time to go into the Treblinka camp where they'd be killed. So around 20 wagons were taken at a time, 20 cattle cars full of people. Now the word cattle car is it's commonly used. It's a goods wagon. In the United States, a cattle car I think looks a bit different, and there's big spaces for air to get in and out. It's sort of like a enclosed fence, so to speak. The goods wagons used here were enclosed almost completely. There could be small windows above all at the end, and if there were, there was a grill on top of them, and then there was barbed wire when people were being deported. So 20 wagons were taken off at a time, and then they were pushed into the camp at Treblinka, because the railway station, if I can call it that, at Treblinka had space only for 20 wagons. Now, what we see today at the monument, you have sort of a platform. The platform wasn't built until the end of 1942. So when most people arrived, the largest deportations were in 1942. So when most people arrived, there was no platform there at all. The view that you can see here was the last view for most people, if they had any view at all, because it was, of course, difficult to even see out. I would like very much to say how the conditions inside these transports must have been utterly horrendous, particularly in the heat of the summer. And we know that there were, from Treblinka station to the camp, many people trying to escape. We have an account from Samuel Willenberg's book on revolt in Treblinka of a policeman's helmets, which were the policeman's caps, I should say, which were thrown out of the train because the ghetto police, who were largely made up of intelligentsia, lots of lawyers, but they were the police who effectively had to start rounding up people inside the ghetto, doing the Nazis' work for them. And so when they were going to the camp, they knew that anybody inside who had any say, who was Jewish, would send them straight off to the gas chambers. I think by this time they must have realised, don't know how, but that some people did have a chance of having their life extended, not being murdered immediately. But we do know that people did try to escape, particularly in this area here, and there were lots of bodies, particularly in the summer of 1942, in August of 42 above all. The train, once the unloading had taken place, now according to the driver who was interviewed in Shoah, the unloading would take up to an hour, and then the train would come back and get another 20 wagons, and then they would be pushed into the camp. I don't know why they pushed the wagons. There's probably a good reason, and not pulled them. It could be to keep the driver away from the furthest away possible from what was actually going on, to give him as little a view as possible. That could be the reason. Samuel Willenberg said that the locomotive didn't go into the camp itself, but the driver himself said it did. And so in a case like this, I think the driver probably knew. Although there could have been cases, I don't know how, where maybe they kept the locomotive outside the camp and then they unloaded. I suppose that's theoretically possible. Also, according to the driver, the commandant Stangl always oversaw the unloading. I think that he made a mistake here. I don't think it was Stangl he actually saw. I think it was Kurt Franz. And Stangl claimed when he spoke to Gitta Sereni that he kept the staff on their toes, and he was always up and about and doing things. But the prisoners who, the guards such as Suchomel and others have stated that just wasn't true, and that Franz was the one who was always running around doing things, and Stangl didn't normally put in an appearance until around 10 o'clock. Kurt Franz was a cook, and he got into this via the T4 program. He was at Beaujets. There's even a photograph of him at Beaujets, which, curious, I knew the photograph before. I was just looking at it this morning. I thought, hey, that's Kurt Franz. I'm not very good at recognizing things though. He after the war, he went back to being a cook. He worked at that for 10 years, and he was arrested in the center of Dusseldorf in 1959, and then he went to prison after the second Treblinka trial. The first Treblinka trial was just one person. Actually, there was a trial in Poland in the meantime of 4 of the Treblinka men who had hidden in Poland rather than go back to the Soviet Union. And then the second Treblinka trial was, in fact, the third one, but was the second one in Germany. So I've done videos related to, for example, Irmfried Eberle, the first commandant at Treblinka, and I've done various videos related to the station. I'm preparing videos related to these Polish resistance and Treblinka. I'm even preparing a little video on the nearest ghetto, Kosów-Lacki, and I've got even on Jack Ruby, the person who shot Lee Harvey Oswald, whose family came from Kosów-Lacki. and that's they haven't even written the last one yet, but the others have been written, but it takes time to actually prepare things. I like to do these videos here because it sort of gives people an orientation about what things look like and what they were like, and I do appreciate that not everybody can come to places like this. So when I walk around doing something like this, I hope that it is of interest. Now, the thing is, of course, if I write something down first, I can check the facts. I'm going to speak off the top of my head. Not only do I, without notes, not only do I not necessarily remember what I want to say, but I can also forget things, names and things quite easily. And so, mind you, if I make a mistake, then I do admit to it, and I pin a comment to the top, and I say something along the lines of, well, it was the Second World War, it happened from 1939 to 45, and not the Third World War, as I stated in the video, or something like that. So, from me here in Treblinka, because this is all, I think this is all now the postal area of Treblinka, which is a village, but it's a sort of scattered communities, so it's a rural area, and I think that is I think that's the important thing to know. It's not a village which was right next to the camp or something like that. At Sobibor as well, there was a similar situation. The station of Sobibor was right next to the camp, but the village itself is about 5 kilometers away. This was not just in this country. In Italy, for example, you often find in rural settings that you'll have two the stations halfway between two villages, and that they did that for reasons of economy. It's not to build two stations and staff two stations. They had the one station in the middle. So, okay, thanks for watching. All the best from me in Poland.